Glass or plastic? Which one is more sustainable?
This is the story of how Coca-Cola tried to answer that question and ended up changing the way we think about sustainability.
The year was 1969. A massive oil spill in California released over 100,000 barrels of oil into the ocean. The impact on Americans was huge, but more than that, it culminated into the rise of the environmental movement in the United States.
And meanwhile, there was Coca-Cola, planning a move to plastic bottles, basically made from oil. And so, by their own will, they decided it was a good idea to conduct a study.
Glass versus plastic, which one has the greater environmental impact? They're actually pretty sure of what they would find. Burning oil and using chemicals to produce plastic bottles. How could that possibly win, right? But when they did the math, they realized plastic was more energy efficient. And by far. Even though glass is made with natural materials like sand and limestone, it requires much higher temperatures to be produced. And that means a lot of energy.
Wow. So, plastic wins, right?
Not so fast. Because what Coca-Cola did next was what actually changed everything. Instead of just accepting the production result, they took a step back. What if you looked at the bigger picture? What about raw materials extraction and transportation? And what about end of life? After all, glass can be recycled almost indefinitely, while plastic can only be recycled around 7 to 10 times before it loses quality. So now what? Glass or plastic? And this is the point. You can't compare products in isolation. Looking at just one step, like manufacturing, is only one piece of the puzzle. If you really want to understand the impact, you have to look at the whole picture. Materials, production, transport, use, and disposal. That's exactly what we call a life cycle assessment, or LCA. In the end, the report suggested glass was more environmental friendly.
And Coca-Cola chose plastic anyway.
But the most important thing wasn't actually the result. It was the method. Because Coca-Cola's study is widely considered the first LCA ever conducted. And today, LCAs are used to decide everything, from products to cars to buildings. In fact, showing that your building has a lower environmental impact through LCAs is a big part of certifications like LEED, WELL, and Green Star.
So next time you're comparing two sustainable options, remember, the answer is almost never that simple.